solely focused on working to connect research to policy and practice, to strategize actions and catalyze solutions to this pressing societal concern, and that will be the focus of these 3 days of the conference. I'd like to acknowledge a few people within the audience. First, from PPDD, Vice President Nancy Cronick, if you just stand for a second so folks can identify you. PPDD Steering Committee Chair Jorge Chement. And then I'd like to recognize a few members of the PPDD International Conference's leadership team. Jolly McFly from the Internet Society, who's doing us a great honor by live streaming this event so that it can be a permanent resource. Massimo Ragnata, Grant Blank, Hopeton Dunn. Like to recognize our local arrangements coordinator, Mia Moriwaki from Georgetown, who's done an amazing job to make sure that this event went off flawlessly. Would like to recognize our hosts without whom this would not be possible. The Georgetown Institute for Technology, Law, and Policy, and Alexandra Givens, its executive director. The Georgetown Center for Business and Public Policy, John Mayo, founder and executive director. And the Beek Center, Sonal Shah, executive director. Also like to recognize our digital inclusion program host for the conference, Byte Back, Elizabeth Lindsey, executive director. And Connect DC from the Office of the Chief Technology Officer of the Government of Washington, DC. Also like to thank our unprecedented broad multidisciplinary coalition of co-sponsoring organizations from the academic, practitioner, and policymaker community. Very long list that I won't be able to go through here. You'll find it on the website and in your conference program, but we're grateful for their partnership in furthering this work. Again, as I said, we're grateful and honored to be on the campus of Georgetown University, and we're so glad that Provost Groves will be here to say a few words now. Provost.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Welcome to Georgetown on what has to be one of the precious few wonderful days to be outside. Sorry you have to be in this room. Maybe you'll have some breaks and you can just enjoy the outside. It is a deep pleasure to welcome you here to Georgetown. This is the Hariri building of the McDonough School of Business. And that we're proud of, and we're proud of this room because it is used often for groups like you. This biennial conference, as you know, brings together policymakers, academics, practitioners, and other experts. This is perfect Georgetown sort of stuff. We are a convening place for people from different domains of life, and especially those that disagree with one another. We love to have fierce debates here, and I hope you have an intellectually stimulating time here. Right now at Georgetown, it's a special moment for us in the kinds of things you've devoted your lives to. We're at a time, I don't have to tell you, where technology is transforming every aspect of society. And from our perspective, we're at a critical moment in history to figure out how much of that technology will be used for the good of society and how much of it will be used to harm, especially those most vulnerable. So we feel a special obligation here to attend to these issues as you. Again, a reason why we are happy to have you here. We have recently announced, you may have seen, an initiative that really is transforming how we're organizing work in what we're calling technology and society. We've just purchased a building downtown next to the Law Center. Within a few months, we will have, I think I can say, hundreds of people whose sole focus is on exactly what I talked about. How can we understand and nurture technology for the good and avoid technology for evil? This collection of centers includes the Center on Technology Law and Policy that is co-sponsoring this. We're also engaged in an effort to bring together different disciplines. So we have computer scientists sitting right next to legal scholars. We have legal scholars who are trying to communicate the meaning of, or understanding of the internet and technology to those who are writing regulations. So hopefully we have regulations that stick and make sense. So in essence, we're with you. We view our agenda as very similar to yours, and we're happy that you've decided to spend a few days here. Over the next 3 days, you'll see various footprints of the work we're doing. The Institute for Technology Law and Policy will have a panel on algorithmic bias and how that is affected and affects the digital divide. The Beck Center for Social Impact and Innovation will host a panel on how the digital divide might affect an event coming up soon, the decennial census of the United States in 2020, which will lean heavily on an online tool to report the residents of the country. And then we'll host a panel on open source software and how that might bridge some of the aspects of the digital divide. And finally, experts from our Center for Business and Public Policy that John runs will discuss policy interventions. So we're part of you. We want to be part of you. We are thrilled that you chose to spend a few days at this little campus, and I hope you get outside for a few hours over the next 3 days if it remains good. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you.
I'd like to now introduce John Mayo, again, the founder and executive director of the Center for Business and Public Policy.
Thank you very much. I want to just echo, amplify, and maybe foot stomp a couple of points Bob made, and that is welcome to the Georgetown campus. You're in the Hariri building, as Bob indicated. It's a new, lovely building on campus, but not all the buildings on campus are new. Please do take the time, as he suggested, to see the rest of the campus. If you'll wander over to the older part of the campus, you'll see a building that was built in 1795, Old North. And do take the time to go into what is called Dahlgren Square, which is a square in which President George Washington addressed the student body. President Lincoln and a number of other presidents have been there, and you'll wander in their footsteps. So do take time to do that. As was mentioned, I'm the executive director of the Georgetown Center for Business and Public Policy. It is a center that examines issues that lie at the nexus of business and public policy, looking at the evolution of innovation, the evolution of competition, the evolution of regulation. And of course, all of those things are front and center when you deal with a conference dedicated to looking at the digital divide. This is a conference that you've come from all over the world to listen to your international collaborators, to see what particular research advances they have come up with over the last couple of years, and that's really, really neat. But what I want to do is say that there is a very, very important subtext here, I think, in this particular conference that I want you to pay a special attention to, and that is that when you look at the program, you'll see scholars from law, economics, business, public policy, communications, right on down the line. And when you pull people together from those disciplines, you have the opportunity not just simply to learn what's going on new in your profession, but also to really amplify and jumpstart research that goes beyond the traditional disciplines that you happen to lie in. So let me, again, welcome you to the Georgetown campus. If there's anything we can do to be better hosts, please let us know. But in the meantime, enjoy the next couple of days. Thank you very much.
Would like to now introduce one of our digital inclusion program hosts, again, from Byte back, the executive director, Elizabeth Lindsey.
Way to get on the stage, but I made it. Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to welcome you here to Washington, D.C. I know there are people here from across the world, which is absolutely exciting. D.C. is a city that many people across the world know as a city that is a home to the seat of the United States government. There are people here who are leading policy, lobbying, doing amazing work. There are incredible, educated people in the city with amazing resources who are really changing the world. At the same time, here in Washington, D.C., there are thousands of people who don't have access to technology. There are people who live on the other side of the city who didn't go to school where they learned how to use a computer. There are people who have never worked in a profession where they're using technology on a daily basis. And those are the individuals that my organization, Byte Back, that we work with. And those are the individuals that I hope all of you over the next few days keep in mind. Since 2002, the United States economy has lost 28 million low-tech jobs. And what that means is that about 17 years ago, there were 28 million more jobs available to people who didn't know how to use technology. Those jobs have now completely disappeared, or they require medium or high tech skills. So the actual jobs themselves have changed. And the same individuals who are in those jobs are the people who have always been left behind in our economy and in our society. They're people of color, people without college degrees, older working adults. And those are the individuals for whom this work that you all are doing is so essential. The digital divide is not just about learning how to use a computer or accessing broadband. The digital divide is about opportunity. Without digital skills, people can't even apply for a job anymore, let alone build a career that enables them to support themselves and their families, or communicate with their families, or participate in civic dialogue in our society today. So I'm so excited that you're here in our city to talk about these issues and to really be building new ways to think about the digital divide and new ways to really provide opportunity to everyone in our society. Thank you so much.
I'm so glad that I kept my remarks short because I knew that the three people you just heard from would cover every point that needed to be made, and they did it so beautifully. Thank you all so much. It's my honor now to introduce Alexandra Givens, the executive director of the Center at the Institute for Technology, Law, and Policy here at Georgetown, and she will in turn be introducing U.S. Federal Communications Commissioner Starks, who will be giving his first speech as a commissioner here. Thank you.
Thank you all. It's a pleasure to have you here. Before I begin my remarks, we actually have a very special video message that we would like to play. This is a welcome to all of you to the conference from U.S. Senator Patty Murray. Thank you.
Greetings and welcome to our nation's capital. Thank you so much to the Partnership for Progress on the Digital Divide and Georgetown University for inviting me to participate in this year's conference. I am thrilled to share what I've been working on, and I can't think of a better group than a room full of academics, industry, and policy leaders from around the globe to help carry this forward, because the work you do in our communities to help connect students and workers and families with the tools and skills they need to move with ease in our increasingly digital world is so important. The Digital Equity Act, new legislation I introduced last month, that will create 2 new federal grant programs to help promote digital equity in communities across the country, was inspired by the work, research, and advocacy of so many people in this room and the people back home for whom digital inclusion is vital. Because while I believe we need to continue to invest in bringing broadband to individuals and communities that have been overlooked, and I will continue working in Congress to do so, I also believe we must make sure they have the tools and the skills and the support they need to fully take advantage of a broadband connection when they have access to one. I've met with dozens of peoples in cities and towns across my home state of Washington where I have seen the impact of the digital divide and the innovative efforts communities are employing to help close the digital skills gap in their communities. In Tacoma, I met local residents who shared with me how having access to digital tools and teachers in their community helped them achieve their personal and professional goals, from completing an award-winning student film to finishing a Microsoft certification course that opened up new employment opportunities. Out on our Olympic Peninsula, I learned more about how rural communities were coming together and leveraging their resources to close the digital skills gap. And in Yakima and with Northwest Washington's Lummi Nation, I heard how tribal communities and communities of color are working to overcome broadband access challenges to help ensure their communities still have access to the digital skills and knowledge they need to fully participate in civic life. Most importantly, everywhere I go, time and again, people have stressed to me how much more they could do to promote digital equity in our communities with the proper resources and support. In 2019, we shouldn't be a country of haves and have-nots when it comes to using the internet, and Congress should be a partner in helping our states, counties, schools, and more close that digital divide that overwhelmingly affects communities of color, persons with disabilities, low-income households, and rural communities. Since I introduced the bill in April, I am proud of the support we've seen from legislators in Congress and advocates like you across the United States, because we recognize that it's up to all of us to ensure our communities, especially the historically underserved, don't get left behind in our rapidly evolving, technology-driven society. I believe the Digital Equity Act is the right thing to do for families, and it's the right thing to do for our economy to make sure everyone is reaching their full potential. So thanks to all of you for all you do to increase digital inclusion in our schools, our homes, our workplaces, and more. And I look forward to working with each and every one of you to get this bill passed through Congress, signed into law. Thanks again, PPDD. Enjoy your conference.
Thank you very much to Senator Murray for that wonderful introduction. It's my true pleasure now to have us move from the welcome to the first substantive session of the conference, and to kick off that session by introducing FCC Commissioner Jeffrey Starks. Following some keynote remarks from Commissioner Starks, he'll be joined on stage for a discussion with Gigi Sohn, who is a well-known public interest communications lawyer, a friend to many of you, and a distinguished fellow here at Georgetown at our Institute for Technology, Law, and Policy. But first, let me introduce Commissioner Starks. Commissioner Starks was unanimously confirmed to the FCC by the United States Senate earlier this year in January. And I don't know how closely some of our international guests are following U.S. politics these days, but a unanimous vote in the U.S. Senate is nothing to sneeze at. So congratulations to you for that. Commissioner Starks brings to the role a background in both the public and private sector. Most recently, he served as Assistant Bureau Chief in the FCC's Enforcement Bureau, where he focused on protecting consumers, promoting network security, and preserving the integrity of the FCC's Universal Service Fund programs. Previously, Commissioner Stark served as senior counsel in the Office of the Deputy Attorney General at the U.S. Department of Justice, where he provided advice on domestic and international law enforcement issues, including civil, criminal, and national security matters. At DOJ, he received the Attorney General Award for Exceptional Service, which is the highest honor that a DOJ employee can receive. Prior to his entry in federal public service, Commissioner Starks was an attorney at the law firm of Williams & Connolly, clerked for the Honorable Judge Dwayne Benton on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 8th Circuit, and served as a legislative staffer in the Illinois State Senate. Already in his brief tenure at the FCC, Commissioner Starks is becoming known for his commitment to ensuring that no American is left behind in this era of transformative innovation. I can think of no better person to start the rich conversations that we know will take place at this conference over the next few days. We are particularly grateful that today marks Commissioner Starks' maiden speech as a commissioner. That is a true honor for us and for the conference, so thank you, Commissioner Starks. Please join us on stage.